concerns about that, except for motion.
7th, actually.
I'm sorry,
Did I put the 21st?
Yep. Or no.
no, that's today's.
No, it's the-
You didn't put any date on there,
Oh,
Man,
so that really messed me up. August 7th.
this one.
Motion to approve and suspend reading.
Motion by Hack,
Second.
second by Stern. Discussion. All in favor of the August 7th minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. Approval of the minutes. We just did that. Approval of the agenda. So, anybody have any additions or corrections to the agenda? We are taking off, okay, 7B is removed on everybody's, I believe. Is that already crossed off?
Should be.
Okay. Any other changes or additions? Okay, hearing none, I'll accept the motion.
Move to approve.
Okay, motion by Stern,
Second.
second by Hack. All in favor of the agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. 4A, 3rd Street drainage flume options and concerns. Mark, come on up. Did you guys all see these photos?
Did you see them, Casey?
Well, actually, these aren't the flume photos. These are the asphalt that just got recently placed there and wrecked. There. So Mark will talk about the flume, then we'll kind of continue into that at the same time.
Yeah, Monty had sent me an email with some pictures of the closing over there at 3rd Street and asking for some ideas of what we could do to get the water off the road there a little bit quicker, a little bit more efficiently. Just looking at the picture, I thought that, flume would be a good place to start. However, going out there and actually walking that thing, the biggest problem, the biggest issue is the grading. If you guys ever walk that whole thing down to the culvert, I mean, there's a bunch of high spots, there's ruts in there. It's no wonder it's not flowing, And so what I had mentioned to Monty before the meeting, and it really, it's not much more than Ron getting out there with the skid steer and just getting his blade down and just, starting at the street and leveling that thing. Now, it is a really mild slope, and so without having survey or elevations or anything, I'm just going on the basis it's always worked in the past, which it has, right? This drainage.
It doesn't drain real well. It sits there. You don't get.
It's
cool.
mild. It's a very mild slope.
Yeah.
But yeah, going on the, just the basis that it's been there and has functioned, it's just a matter of getting that thing graded down. And like I said, I think that's a maintenance thing. I don't think you have to do anything really more complicated than that.
You're talking in the drainage ditch itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That normal beds. It looks to me like it's silted up and it's higher.
Yeah, it's in several spots. And then the grass, and vegetation and everything's not helping either at this point, but as far as the flume, we could still put an apron there right at the street to just help the water get off the street. It's not gonna actually help the conveyance down the swale, but at least it would give the water a place to get off, away from all that silt buildup and everything else. So, but it's, it definitely needs graded out.
Okay. And that's something our own guys can do, can't we? If it's dry and not going on when it's a bog.
Yeah, it's still pretty wet in there.
Okay.
I know this one thing that got brought up is about the wires that run in that ditch. They might not be carrying all that heat.
Because there's pedestal, over there, and I didn't know. Yeah, that's one of our concerns. But that stuff should all be So we located obviously, but it should be deeper than, even if we put concrete in there, everything should be deeper than 16, 18 inches, I'd assume, unless it be.
It should be on the order of about 30 inches.
Okay.
What lines do you have under there? Is that?
I'm not sure on that side, if I'm gonna, yeah, like cable and
Telephone cable,
Okay,
might be on the north side though. and Those runs.
okay. Is there fiber
I don't
optics?
I don't know if fiber's running right there or not.
Oh, that's it, yeah. Yeah.
Lisa?
I don't know what
That's
they're,
fair.
where you're talking about.
Kidding.
3rd Avenue by Ann Chase Park.
By where?
And Chase,
3rd Street
I
by
don't
Ann
think
Chase
they're over
Park.
there yet.
okay, well.
And then, yeah, if you have those, you definitely wanna get a locate done and have those, determine the depth on that, but.
Well, if we do pour something, we're gonna spend a couple, $2,000, $3,000, in pouring an apron in there. And then it might move it 10, 12 feet, and then it's gonna slow down again, so I don't know if we,
I think you guys
Grade
are gonna have
wise.
to grade that quite a ways down the way it's silted.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think, Casey?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Quite a ways.
Yeah.
I think all the way down to that holding area on the culvert.
okay, well, I think we should try that first and see how that works, and then
Yeah.
get a locate on those wires, and then have our guys go in there and do it ourselves. So, rained again last night, so,
You want me to call maybe Ron next week or the following, let it dry, hopefully a little bit? So we don't, I don't wanna jump the gun and get over there and bury something.
No,
'cause
no.
It might be wetter than what a guy thinks.
just tell them to watch it get dried up and get after it. Then the next thing with that same area, Mark and I were just talking, you saw these pictures right here. Bechtold Paving was in town and filled those patches. Well, they filled this one patch in before the curb was done. And then we got an inch of rain. And well, where they patched it, there's no curb, so the water ran underneath the asphalt. And Schwartz obviously didn't get there in time to get the concrete done. So I don't know, you can't really place blame anywhere other than the fact that it was done backwards. And Bechtel wasn't gonna wait for Tim wasn't gonna wait for Bechtel or get there any quicker, so. That spot, now there's a soft spot there, and I'm sure all the material underneath it is wet. Did we put the dry material in there, Jason, or did Bechtel do that themselves?
I honestly am not for sure of that.
Yeah, which Ron is here?
Yeah.
Ron did mention the other day that they took a couple of feet out and put dry material in trying to get it
Oh, they did.
before Bechtel did the patch. But then basically as soon as the patch was in, that's when the rain came.
Mm-hmm.
The material being gravel?
Yeah.
That they put in a couple feet of gravel?
Not feet of gravel, but some was just filled dirt and clay
Okay.
and
And then gravel on
a little
top.
gravel on top, I'm sure, with a few inches of gravel.
So obviously something's gotta be done, cause there's a sinkhole there now. And I don't know if we just go in there and, our guys can tear it out ourselves. We don't need to have anybody tear it out, so we can cut it out and tear it out. I don't know if the size, how much we take out if we do the entire patch. Cause the whole thing, unless they take some out and see how sloppy it is underneath there. And then keep going all the way back to the middle of the road where the manhole covers, and it's sloppy on the back, then you have to replace that material. So we can do that ourselves with our equipment, but there's no paving crew in town. And I don't know if those guys from Bismarck might, are gonna be back at all or not, but, unless we just concrete it in. I think concrete would be better myself,
Yeah, I think so.
and sturdier.
I'm afraid this spot is bigger than what a guy thinks.
It is, Ron said the pictures don't really do justice to that.
Well, the concrete will definitely be sturdier and help bridge that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be more expensive, obviously, but
Yeah, I agree, but I think it's the right way to do it right now. So you wanna talk to Ronnie about pulling that out unless you have any other concerns about Casey?
We got a timeline, when do you?
Well, I don't wanna leave it open for 3 weeks before
Oh, yeah.
Shorts can come concrete it in. So we need to
Basically
coordinate,
coordinating with.
Yeah. and if we're,
Still Ron,
if we can do it on a Monday and then get to it that week, that'd be good, but.
okay. Okay, I'm gonna keep one of these.
Yep, good, you can have all of them.
Okay.
Okay. Mark, what else?
on that,
On 4A, we're good? Okay,
yes.
all right, so let's move on to 4B. So the application that Monty wrote to BND for the loan, we did receive word back, finally. When did we do that? We did that February, March?
Beginning of March.
Okay. So it was almost the full amount that we received approval for the 2% loan from BND. Now we need to decide how we're gonna go about using that. One thing that I did mention to Monty, and Mark also knows too, that I really think that if we're gonna be doing that much, using that much money, it's not a grant, obviously, it's gonna have to be paid back, you know, and so we need to, I feel like we should have at least one, if not two, community meetings to discuss what we'd like to do with this money. If we do use all of it, it's gonna take the entire summer next year to do all the projects. But I think we need to explain to everybody the areas of town, how we wanna do the districts, what we wanna do with the streets. The last thing I want is for the community to come back and say that this was shoved down their throat, or they didn't have any say about it. I just want to be as transparent as possible, because, you know, almost $10 million worth of street work. And Monty thinks that we may not have to do it all in one summer. So we can maybe stretch that money out into 2 years. You guys have pictures on your email of the kind of the zone,
The street survey.
yeah, the street survey that Moore did. What needs attention more than others, and what's just been recently done. Obviously, one thing we need to do is all the chip seal for the new streets we did in the last couple summers. But just kind of give everybody a heads up. And this would be, if you know, special assessment, 30 year special assessments. So they'll be stretched out for quite a while. But still, I feel like that's what we should do before we go ahead and just do it. I feel it's not every day you get an opportunity to get that kind of a loan in that size of that chunk of money. So I think obviously we're going to do something, but I do want to have a little bit of input. Mark, did you want to explain a little bit on what you would need to
Well,
do for?
I think the whole idea about public meetings is a great idea. You know, more input, the better. I would suggest, though, maybe before we get to that step, that we sit down with you guys and just go through this thing street by street to find out exactly what you're wanting to see done there. You know, so we would like to start with your input first, you know, so that we can together kind of be on the same page, and then at that point, I think having a public meeting would be great. So at least that way we can.
I agree, because if you live in the west side of town, you kind of want to know what's going to be done in your area before you have a meeting and say, well, what's it going to cost me if I live over there? Well, we don't know.
Mhm.
So, you're right, I think we need to sit down so we can get some numbers
So-
together.
And the other thing too is, timing is gonna play a factor here because, if we wanna get all this done over the fall and the winter so you can bid this thing in the spring, we wanna get as much of the field survey work done as possible before the snow flies. But obviously we can't survey anything until we know exactly what we're gonna be doing. So that's why I think it's really important that and it's gonna take, a while for that meeting. It might be, more than one meeting
I think so.
to get through all of it. But there's gonna be a lot of planning, a whole lot of discussion back and forth, whatnot. But it'll all be worth it in the end, But yeah, the sooner we can do that, the better, because, like I said, we're not that far away from winter, so.
Yeah. I don't have your report in front of me, but I believe we have some streets that haven't been chip sealed or milled and overlaid since the late 90s. So we have things that are starting to erode quickly, before they need total repair, from ground up.
So is that, do you wanna form a committee or something? I know you can only have
Two
two
commissioners,
folks before it goes public, but,
Yeah.
but if we could do something this week, next week, something like that, would be great.
Okay.
Just to start talking.
well, James, this is a street issue, we're gonna need you, and your schedule's pretty airy. We can, I'm willing to go in the evening if we have to,
And we're flexible as well, Jason, I don't know what kind of schedule you have. If you wanna do it in the evening, or Saturday, or whatever.
Yeah. So definitely wanna have two of us on there and Monty involved. And Ronnie right away. I mean,
This week I've got, I could do it unless something drastic happens at work, Wednesday or Friday. Wednesday or Friday this week.
after work?
Yeah.
Well, Friday after you get off work, I'll be there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Friday's
Maybe.
gonna be a good day.
Wednesday evening? Like 6-ish or?
I would say between 6 and probably closer to 6:30. I could push to get here at 6 though.
Are you available? Okay.
All right, well, I'll check on our end, because we'll have to,
Tentatively look at third Wednesday night.
at 6:30. Okay.
You wanna be here too?
I can't,
You can on Wednesday?
well, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it'll be here
Just
free.
be just two of us.
Well, we can invite Dan, I guess, and make it a public meeting too.
Well, I mean, if you're fine with just Jerry and I.
I would love to have all 5
I know.
of us there. That'd be,
Well, and there's nothing saying we can't do that in the
no,
near
we
future,
just,
you know.
what kind of notice do we have to give the public that we're having a meeting?
Put it in the paper and then post it on the door.
So tonight, or tomorrow, by what time, Dan?
I don't know, I'm trying to remember what the deadlines are for.
It doesn't have to be in the paper now.
Okay. Oh, it doesn't.
Yeah, well, the thing is with paper, I
Oh,
mean,
okay, okay.
technically really wouldn't get out before that, the paper technically has the Thursday.
Are you available Wednesday at 6:30?
I believe I am.
And we just have to
I'll check
invite
as
you.
well.
We have to just invite you, right, yeah. Okay, well, then can you be here at 6:30 on Wednesday?
yeah, should be okay.
Let's plan on doing that.
All right, let me confirm with our.
Absolutely,
with our
yeah.
engineers, I want
Okay.
to be here as well, so. so far so good. That would be-
Does Bonnie just wanna send out an email once you get
Once I hear
confirmation
from
from
Mark.
Mark?
All right. Good enough, thank you.
Okay.
All right, 5A and B, we have 2 local permits, one for St. Martin's Church and one for Hazen Preschool. I like this still together, unless anybody has any major questions about either one of them.
Motion approved.
Okay, motion by Hack,
Second.
second by Stern, discussion. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. All right, so moving on here to 7A. We have building permit with variance request from Brent Hischlin. You guys all have the paperwork in front of you and images.
Yeah, basically, he's putting a shed on the street side of his house, which is the side of his house, but it's the frontage. And that area requires 30 foot, until he puts the shed on there, it's gonna bring it down to only 10. So he's asking for a 20-foot variance to put his shed there. He's pretty limited on flat area up there, land's all pretty hilly, so he doesn't really have any place else to go.
What's that, what size is that again, building?
It's
15 by 8.
14 by 18, yeah. He figures you'll have it, he did that out. 4 feet, 6 feet. 6 feet from the house, and then the 14-foot shed, and then they'll leave an extra 10 feet. And it has 20-foot space to me taking up the shed.
Questions? Comments?
So then on the 10 feet, that's gonna be on the side of the shed there. Would that be the curb then?
To the edge of his property.
There will still be a boulevard.
Right, the boulevard will still be there, but that's, it's normal.
So the tree row there, Brent, is that your property line?
Right.
So he's still, got
So then, so like, why is there,
30 feet to start with.
yeah,
Normally your house faces the street, so they would be more driveway and stuff, but because it's just in there.
That's just how that is zoned.
Right.
Brent, I need to ask this, but you have a huge yard.
Yeah.
Huge yard.
Well, just.
So I'm
in
wondering why
reference
we
to
give you a
the picture
variance.
here, this is kind of where maybe our kid play area is, as you can see. Over here, there's kind of a well where we originally had our well pump head, and Southwest Water comes through here, so I just wanted to stay out of that area and not put over it. My water comes in from over here to this.
Okay.
And my power comes in this way. And then, pretty much slope. We got a garden back here, and the other reason would be access for bikes and snow blowers and 4-wheelers to get out to the road easily.
Okay, I was gonna ask you why you wouldn't tuck it in that corner there, but that's where your water comes in. You don't want to go over the top of that. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, we kind of looked at some things here, but with the windows and taking stuff away, I'd hope this shed would protect some of that area. I'm gonna have some windows on the side of it.
You're
Maybe
not
some of
worried about
that.
snow and blowing in there and.
Well, let's just be honest. look at it with my house on top of the hill.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if, I mean, I thought I could also maybe move that thing up a little bit, but that doesn't really do much to do that. It's a nice access for myself to get right out the garage.
Well, if you move it east, it's still gonna be the same variance.
I could maybe squeeze it closer to my building. I guess, but-
Where, Brent, was that, like last winter, can you point out on your driveway where your snow drifted, you had a hell of a bank? Did it come
Well,
off the corner?
Right through here. I
Okay.
mean, it depends on what
Which
that
way?
storm is, but,
Yeah,
That could be.
there were some drifts back here that got pretty crazy.
yeah, oh yeah, that whole road kind of
Getting
crazy.
to go back there.
That's, Any more questions for Brent?
But mainly the ease of access and use of yard is the main reason we need that.
All right.
So then on the boulevard, then, how wide is that in this area?
She asked me that when I was in there, and I don't think we quite knew what
I think
Road.
it's 15. That's gotta be fair. And the road to his property,
Well, it seems like it would be.
yeah.
For your
If
job.
I was to just guess right now, I'd say yes, it is 15, but, I don't know exactly what, I mean, I think when they redid the road after they put in the water and sewer, it's pretty, accurate, maybe. But, there's no curb and gutters.
Right, yeah, the road could be left, give or take, plus or minus a couple feet.
So then it could maybe be, a total of, I guess, like 25 feet. If there ever is a curb and gutter
Yeah.
put in there. So,
Yeah, it's like a 15 plus.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, it's the wishes of the board.
I do have one more question. So it's a 20, explain the variance again to me, Sharon.
It's a 30-foot setback from the property line to the building. And he's gonna be taking up, there's only gonna be 10 feet left of it off of the side of the shed to his property line instead of the 30. But like Casey said, then there was still the 15-foot boulevard area too.
Which if you look down at Fayette, which is just one road over, that boulevard's only probably 15 feet wide. Where they put that new sidewalk in there.
Yeah, but those pins for that new Holden house went in, that's pretty far back from the street.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, they're pretty far. But that's it.
Did you think it is zone different?
Or Holden's house is going in his own different.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's irrelevant.
Yeah, I've been thinking of different places to put that shed. I mean, obviously, as we've been up there, the longer we've stayed there, the more stuff has been accumulated, so.
Could you build up a side somewhere and put it off to the side, like by your, the other end of your driveway there?
Well, when you get up, it slopes, like, off the front of my driveway, it's a downhill.
Oh, okay. That really is your only flat spot, other than the area.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys were to drive up there, I mean, that area is, it's ready for a shed, as opposed, you know, we got the garden, there's a little space in between there, and then we got the backyard, with how we built the house, and, most of the, I suppose, like 10 feet on, I guess, on that picture on the west or north there.
Yeah.
And then it slopes. I basically have a useless land.
So back where Monty's cursor, put it down towards the bottom corner. How much further to the right of his cursor is your property line back there, Brent? How much further back does it go?
Okay. Oh, I'm there pretty close to it. I mean,
That's
the
about your
Google Earth
block, okay.
has it kind of, yeah.
Okay, so you don't own the next lot over behind you. Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
I suppose there's maybe like to the play area up to the top there, 10 or 15 feet from
Right
maybe
there,
the
okay.
lot line.
You know, Jerry was thinking about snow and stuff, you know, Alan's house wasn't up there yet, and I don't know if this variance is gonna make it, you know, it's gonna be interesting to see what the snow does with another house up there. Right, almost, not quite directly north of Fishland. You know, so. I don't know. I'm just really
Could be
scared.
nothing.
Yeah, I know, it could be nothing. You know, and it could be, depends on which way the storm rolls in too.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? Okay, what does the board like to do?
Move to approve.
Okay. Motion by Stern,
Second.
second by Hack. Discussion? Roll call.
Stern.
Aye.
Hack.
Aye.
Omenauer.
No. Motion carried. The only reason I say no, Brent, is I just feel like in a new area town like that, especially when you have as big as lot as you do, that could, if you really, really needed that and wanted, you could find a different spot. Maybe not a better spot, but not taking up such a big variance, that's all.
I guess I should have prefaced it, took 9 feet off the top of the hill and moved it that way. Of course, hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah. Bottom line, motion carried. So,
Thank you.
good luck building your shed. All right. Then we have the Rots asking for a variance.
Yes, they have a concrete slab next to their garage. They're wanting to extend their garage, basically, to enclose that concrete. It is, they have a 7.5 foot side yard, and there's only about 4 feet left over the way Bill measured it. So basically, they're just asking for 3.5 extra feet that would be coming this way. Is that garage taking up more space?
So where the concrete is at, Bill, that's, you want to enclose that, the concrete,
Yeah,
and you're not going to build any further than the concrete.
Nope.
So you already had a variance to put the concrete there, I'm assuming.
no, it's not 4 foot footings there at all, it's just a slab. If I attach to the garage, I need the 4 foot footings, and the slab will have to come out, and
Okay.
So you could just build it 3.5 feet longer and
That's
I wanna add a stone to the garage.
it's shed attached to
So
the
how
barn.
far away from the lot line will we be, Bill?
4 feet.
It's like 4, 5, 5, 900, it looks like.
And then what's the distance to your neighbor?
That was about.
And have you talked to your neighbor at all, Bill, about that, or?
No, I haven't talked to Westonburg yet.
It's a road.
I've just kinda got this, ball rolling a little bit and, trying to see what I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm here.
Okay.
This is the fence line here. And that's what I'm assuming the property line is, cause the fence was there before I moved in. And Blaine Lemire measured it, so I'm pretty sure it's probably right on. And from this, where the concrete is straight to the fence line is 4 feet right now. I just wanna add, 24 by 12 on, it'd be the same height as my garage now, cause this is the garage.
Okay.
I know in the past it's been, I kind of brought up about, it's like the space in between, like buildings and homes and stuff, and I thought there was like a recommendation. I mean, it's the fire, like marshal or whatever. And a minimum, but,
I don't know, if there's ordinance that has a minimum or
yeah.
whatever
There's an
distance.
ordinance, but there was just
I know that, Mr. Wetstein in the past said, obviously the closer you get between buildings, if you ever have to get in there
yeah.
to fight a fire, that's an issue, and then if your place is on fire, your neighbor's that much closer, but that, to damage that, but I don't think that we have, I think it's only been a courtesy recommendation and not an ordinance. But I don't know for sure, so, Pat, does that jog your brain at all? Okay. I don't think it's, you look at your commercial properties downtown, they're touching each other. But, Monty,
Yes, to my understanding, it's just my recommendation.
Yeah, I haven't read anything.
Yeah, and I wanna say it was basically the 7.5 feet on each side, so you have at least 15 feet between. So I guess depending on how close the other building is, probably wouldn't
You
be.
might measure it.
Mhm.
Bill, were you gonna start on this like right away? Or,
I talked to Mike Swanson, but he said get the variance before he'd even come and give me an estimate. Cause
Mike's been
otherwise-
burnt before.
Otherwise, he's been, he's wasted his time.
right, I just don't know what, it's Weston's rental, I don't know if, I wouldn't, I guess, foresee him having an issue.
I don't see that either. Never know. Okay, any other questions for Bill or Lisa or Shannon? I know we've been more lenient in the older parts of town than in the newer areas, but I almost consider this older now. But, okay,
Motion approved.
okay, motion by Hack,
Second.
second by Stern, discussion. Roll call.
Hack,
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Omenauer.
Motion passed.
Before you start your report, can I just, I don't know, some
Yeah. Good luck. Motion carried.
Thanks.
This is separate.
Okay, thanks.
All right, we'll go on to 8A. The only thing I'm gonna report on is you have already in your packet, and I told Dan I was gonna steal his thunder about making a report for him, but You all saw that Chuck Dahl has given his resignation, and he has served our community for a long time. And he, it looks like he wants to be done on this effective December 31st. I've talked to Chuck. He's kind of given a verbal recommendation, but we need to discuss that more. And you know, I think we need to open the position immediately. If we get Monty to do that as soon as we can. If we get lucky enough to find a good applicant, I know last time I think we two interviews said no before the third one finally said yes. So we kept having to drag it out, and then Tony was then hired. So if we have to have an extra person on staff for a month or two, I think that's better than waiting and having 3 officers on staff after December 31st and scrambling. And so if you guys all approve, we'll have Monty get
I'll
ahead
update
of
the description and stuff and send it out to you.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause that description's probably not been touched for a while.
3 years.
Okay. Other than that, that's the only thing I have right now. Water and sewer? No. Thank you. Thanks. Streets?
The only thing I got is they're underway with milling and crushing out at the grass pit. As of yesterday evening, they had 1,500 and some odd tons crushed. I talked with Mike today. We got Mike out there because what's going on is he's got a track hole. He was having to drag, move back, drag, move back, just cut down time. We got Mike out there with a payloader moving it to him. Mike forgot to check. He was gonna let me know after supper. My guess, I drove out there quick when I got to town. I bet you they've got close to 3,000.
I would say 3,000 or 4,000 ton.
Mike did say the guy is going on vacation for 3 days. 1 o'clock tomorrow. There's something I'm gonna talk to Ron about and Jerry, but the guy just told Mike, hey, if you can keep doing what you're doing that way when they come back, it's that much further in.
And part of the reason is because we want that stuff blended really well of concrete and asphalt together. Because right now, for 25 years, people have been separating the asphalt and concrete, and they're quite a ways apart. So with his track hoe, he's grabbing, he'd have to grab all concrete, and we're gonna have a big pile of powder, and then he grabs some asphalt. So now it's gonna all be in one pile. He'll be able to throw it into that crusher, and it'll be mixed really well. And that's the product we want.
That's basically what Mike's doing.
Yeah.
He's dragging
Freilich
up
is doing
concrete,
that.
putting
Asphalt.
asphalt on top, so when he grabs, he's got a mixture as it's going into the crusher.
So he's not gonna crush after tomorrow until Monday then?
It sounded like,
Okay. You know, our contract is for 18,000 tons, or 18,500, so it's gonna be that entire pile. Because initially, they estimated that pile to be about 30,000 tons. And Parks and Rec they're gonna throw money in too to get some for their facilities.
they've already started hauling today.
Did they start hauling? I know Pearl came this morning and couldn't haul because it's too muddy, too wet.
No, they come out this
Okay.
afternoon, and I was under the assumption it was 1 truck. It was actually 3 trucks. So they got the second payloader out, and yeah,
Okay.
it's a busy place out there right now.
We've also talked to Tim Williams. He's gonna allow us to stockpile a nice pile over there across from the city shop too. So, you know, we are paying to get this crushed, and we're gonna have a lot of product, and we're gonna probably sell it too. And that way, if they load people over there, if we sell it versus taking skid steer payloader all the way up to the grass dump all the time, so. Well, and that's the other thing, we're gonna put a lot of signs up, so that's
I mean,
property of the city of Hazen, not Hazenites to take, but, it's gonna be clear that it's not, we spent $100,000 on that pile, so we wanna make sure it's, well, we can't put a 10-foot fence around it,
no,
but,
I mean, you're probably still gonna get them people, but
we will,
what do you do?
it will
I
happen.
mean, I look at it, when we had over 1,500 ton, and that was a big pile.
Yeah.
And now we got expected 18.5 or whatever it is, that's gonna be a huge pile. That'll be still there by the time I'm gone, probably.
Someone wants to take a 5-gallon bucket like that.
Hey, anything else, Jason?
No, that is it.
No busing and finance report unless Monty has something for us. Do we hire another driver?
No, we were trying to set up an interview, we did get one applicant that we're gonna interview here this week sometime.
Okay, all right. No police and fire, no HCD.
Actually.
Let's talk about, yeah, not for HCD.
For HCD, they were talking about back here on the north side of the apartments,
That's, yeah, kind of coming out of the alley on the north
coming
side.
out of the alley on the north side. They are going to be replacing, this apron is going to come out, that is they're not gonna have a driveway there anymore, and then they are gonna put the 5-foot sidewalk all the way over. So it'll match up kind of with the other sidewalk that's there. They'll taper it in here to meet this other, your existing sidewalk is like 3'9". So they'll go out and then run the 5-foot sidewalk. Speaking with Daryl, he said they would do all of this work to replace this sidewalk and redo this apron to the alley in exchange for the alley being approved with some of this material,
Crushed stuff, we have.
some of the crushed material that we're getting. And that, to me, that seems like a pretty reasonable deal if they're gonna replace all of that concrete and sidewalk.
I don't know if we're gonna have enough of that.
Because initially they were talking about just stopping here, but to tear this part of that apron going into the alley where their other driveway is, he said they would wreck that anyway, so they would just as well tear it out and replace it when they're doing this whole project. So I guess basically it was just to understand that the city would be willing to work with them as far as improving that alley.
And I have no issue with giving some of that product, but we're not gonna dig out the existing alley, go down 2-3 feet or whatever and excavate. Our guys can spread it and do a nice job, but I don't think we're gonna do any. We're gonna do is shoot it and they can do that part.
So I can let him know that's acceptable.
Does anybody have any comments? All right, yeah. All right, anything else for HCD, Buster? Buster, jeez. Nope, sorry. Okay. That takes us down to 11A, to the September 4 meeting, which is on Labor Day. Labor Day Monday.
I'll leave it there and I'll move it to Tuesday.
You said you don't care?
Said my computer.
Can I just check my calendar real quick?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure. Tuesday.
almost into September.
It's going fast.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, Tuesday I'm not available. I'll be gone, or Wednesday. I messes with Dan's timeline.
On Tuesday would be too late.
Tuesday would be Tuesday would be too late too. That's true. Wednesday would work for me, or Monday. I can go Monday. We'll be back. Monday work for you?
Yeah, Monday works for me, but I don't mind.
Monty, or you?
I mean, you guys aren't gonna be here really, so I'm saying for you guys to come in, you know.
Right.
You know,
I can go Wednesday. So where do you want to leave? Matter. I don't care. All right, we're going Monday. Monday night. You're not gonna have to rush back from vacation or anything?
What's a vacation?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do Monday night.
work you need.
Yeah.
That's true.
It'll just have to be a short one.
All right, 11B, preliminary budget. Monty?
Basically, I just put it in there. I don't know if you guys have visited with your departments, if there's anything special we need to look at. Right now, it's kind of a deficit, so we gotta do some tweaking. And then if you want, we can set up some meetings with your departments or whatever, or if you wanna just visit with them, and then we'll set up our meeting that we've always had and just get together then. Try and get something going before that September 4th meeting, so that we can publish a notice. I guess if you wanna just visit with your departments and let me know if there's anything particular, otherwise it's gonna be bare bones. Especially if we put $9 million in the streets.
If you've not seen or had a chance to sit down and look at the budget with Monty's increases in salaries, please stop and look at that. That's expected revenues from foundation, or not foundation aid, I'm not at school anymore. From full impact and conversion is expected to be down about 15% after last
Pretty close, yeah.
10 to 15.
10 to 15%.
Let's go to the
State aid is also down. The only thing that's up so far is sales tax. So.
And then look at our, the big ticket things too, our especially with equipment especially. Obviously, we took care of the truck, but
Really about the only thing that I can think of is that spreader and
Yeah, that's not a big ticket.
no, I'd say more like street sweeper or
yeah.
you should Ronnie's pickup. We should be replacing. There's a couple of pieces of equipment that we should be
Yeah,
looking
I
at.
talked to him last Friday, nothing really major other than that thing around that sander again.
All right. Anything else? Any questions? All right, stop and see Monty. All right, that takes us down to 11, approval of the bills. We got a couple more here.
A couple more here on the sheet. Can I enter today?
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Motion approved.
Nothing.
Okay. We got a motion by Hack, second by Stern. Discussion? Roll call.
Hack,
I,
Stern,
Aye.
Overall.
Aye. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.